Hi everyone, this is CryptoVatsik. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate the engagement on these videos. If you give me a like and subscription to the channel, if you enjoy this content, nothing of what you're about to see is considered financial advice. These are just my opinions. Let's go. Okay, got an exciting one for you today. We're just going to do a quick update on Bitcoin and get some good finger on the pulse for the market right now. So we got this downward sloping downward descending channel right here that we've been playing around in back since August, where we had our top of the high, swing high, tap below here, down at the low, came back mid-range acting as resistance, came up, tapped the high again, and then now back down to the low. What I am noticing, which is very interesting, is we got this lower closing doji candle right here. Okay, so this guy, the previous candle, okay, previous candle right there, that's our doji, right? So basically it just means that it's got a thin candle with long tweezer wicks, potentially getting a tweezer bottom, depending on how this candle continues to form, but potentially getting a tweezer bottom. However, you do like to see tweezer bottoms side by side, not spread out by a candle like this. So it is interesting though. It does mean we're testing demand, which is good to see. So we'll get into that a bit more. In strong trending markets, you typically see price continue to break to the direction of the trend on these downward sloping or descending or ascending channels, right? So being the vice versa upward sloping channel, basically breaking to the upside kind of thing. Sorry for my messy drawing, but the point is that you'd expect price to likely, in a strong bear market, continue to the downside. However, we are at that local low here with the bottom band of this channel, so your expectation is to test the mid-range and then possibly the upper range. Now, it's important to keep in mind before we get too excited that we do have weekly resistance in this zone right here that will make red, okay? So that is still resistance until proven otherwise. And you'll notice that it does line up with our previous all-time high, right, at 20,000. So some confluence there. It was a significant level. Don't think it'll be smashed too quickly. However, we do have with this big red candle, okay, on the FTX collapse, we do have technically what is speaking inefficient balance in price, okay? So basically we saw that right over here. Okay, we saw some inefficiency in price, okay, in these candles. We saw a pump into it, taking up some of that inefficient balance, okay? But then ultimately this big red candle right here, okay, we saw a lot of that, probably 75-80% of that taken up before we moved back down to the downside, right? So I am keeping a close eye on that section of this weekly candle right now, okay? Now, if this is going to be a temporary local bottom, let's flip down to the daily here and see how these levels are being respected to evaluate how we might be able to take a position here, or how I would, okay? Okay, so there's a couple different ways on the daily here that I would play this, right? So basically, if you're looking for just a short-term swing trade, ultimately, I'd be looking at the current market structure break that we've got, right? So basically, this big red candle almost invalidated by this green candle. However, we have now made a higher high in comparison to this lower high, okay? And we'll zoom down to the lower time frame in a second to show you. But basically, this level right here, okay, I'd be looking for a retest, and I'd be targeting the mid-range. And then if we were able to break it, I'd obviously just ultimately be targeting the upper band of the downward descending channel, which would mean essentially that we have a swing failure pattern here, okay, in comparison to this low. We weren't able to continue the trend down, okay, we've had a trend reversal, and ultimately I want to see a break of this, a reclaim of this level here, okay, so this was the exact middle of our bearish pennant right here, okay, that we had, which broke to the downside. The extension of this pennant was not actually achieved, meaning the length of the target for the pennant, that line there, was not equal to the breakout line to our finish, right? So basically it was unfinished. So, sometimes crypto likes to do that where they, the market likes to trick people, right? They go, oh, it broke below, people start shorting, and then actually flips back up, regains the level, and then goes back to the upside. Okay, so I'm just saying, keep that in mind. You got to stay very cautious here, but I would expect this to be an SFP then at that point, if this is going to be a temporary reversal. And again, I want to see a reclaim of this level right around 16,700 and change, okay? And like I said, if I was looking to get long, right now it's kind of in no man's land. We're just really starting to make that market structure break. I'd be looking for a retest of this big red candle, okay, that order block. So say price even came up here, I would expect a retest. I'd enter on that location and then be targeting up here, okay? And then coming into this big red area of supply, resistance, whatever, up there, that lines up with this previous level. I'd be very cautious making longs on the way up. So then the question becomes, is this a larger reversal than just a shorter term time frame trade? Well, that's where the inefficiency comes into play again that I mentioned previously. Okay, so on the weekly, we had that big red candle here, split by days here now because we've switched to the daily time frame. So really that inefficiency is up here. Okay, so for really from that breakdown down to here to these wicks, this is that inefficiency from the FTX collapse. Okay, we've got two large red candles. This one actually had a ton of buyback all the way up to that level in like right here, right? So ton of demand at the time down there, right? But this is kind of an unforeseen event that happened with the FTX collapse. So potentially sellers are exhausted, and we could see a push to the upside for a bit. But what would really convince me is really a reclaim of this red zone, right? Really a reclaim of that previous all-time high around 19,000 area. Okay, so this level here is that key level that if this is going to push further, then I wouldn't want to see us just come up and actually take out this inefficiency. I would like, and then obviously come back down and then continue in this range. I would like to see this level get reclaimed with confidence. Okay, reclaimed with confidence, start testing that high right away, and then start trading above near the top of this upper band of the range. And then obviously would like to see something like that break out of the band, right? But these are just all assumptions until we get more price action. So it's looking decent. Decent. I think RSI potentially had a bullish divergence right here. So we had lower high in price, okay, and we've had a reversal on our RSI, okay. So higher low on RSI, lower low on price. So that's a classic bullish divergence. So that is what I'm seeing. So it's interesting. These are just things that you have to look at as a trader and notice and put towards your theory. So let's flip to the 12 hour, see if it looks any different. Okay, it's looking strong right now. This is a strong move. These are two bullish candles, obviously. Doji candle here, even on the 12 hour, right? And then just lining up right with this area of demand. So we've come down, we've tested it. We did print that bullish divergence. And it looks like potentially a temporary reversal here. So I'd at the moment wouldn't be entering a trade, but again, like I said, let's flip down to the 4 hour. We'll see this market structure break much more clearly, I'm sure. So yeah, so right here, basically we had this previous lower high, and then we made a higher high, ultimately breaking that level with a bullish retest and now up. So this one might get away from us, might be getting front ran a little bit, right? If you miss this trade, which I missed it too, right? But we are coming into that previous level right here. Oh, sorry, previous level right there, okay, of this breakdown. So essentially, a higher time frame, I would like to get in somewhere closer down to here to that original market structure break. Maybe this wasn't the actual retest, right? So it's possible in a higher time frame we do some of these, a deviation above, and then come down and then ultimately test it again one more time before coming up. That's possible. Getting in at that level, that's where I would take a trade, with your risk being this area here and stop loss at the low. But up here, I'm just not comfortable. There's no trade for me. So if you're getting excited seeing this action, this bullish price action right now, ultimately, let me just spoil your party, right? There's a downward trend right there. So you could just easily see that happening too. Okay, so you just got to stay frosty, stay objective, and see both directions. And it's why you got to be patient. It's why you got to be patient, wait for good entries, so you got good R&R and tight stop losses. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We'll go to the 6 hour here. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. We've had 3 attempts to break this low, and we weren't able to do it. So, maybe the market's getting exhausted, and we start taking out some shorts and push the price a bit higher. But yeah, the question becomes: Are you trading this shorter term, or do you think this is the bottom kind of thing? I don't know. And I think actually, let me just check something here. So we had that low, this low, maybe on a macro scale. Let's see what RSI is doing. Go to the weekly. Yeah, it's possible bullish divergence on RSI. So we had this low here from the wick down to the lower low, and then now RSI potentially printing a higher low, right? So if it does something like this, coming up to that mid area with this low and that lower low, then yeah, potentially we could see a nice bullish divergence, which doesn't mean it's a bottom. It just means that we could see a temporary reversal, right? So we could easily see some nice price action, deviate above, and still come back down inside this range. Time will tell. However, we just look at the data in front of us, and that's what I'm seeing currently. So And again, don't get too excited because even when we see our generational cycle bottom, we're going to have lots of opportunity to get in positions. Okay, lots of opportunity to get in positions for the long term. So if you're looking to trade, then yeah, you got to maybe act a little bit faster and get out a bit faster. But if you're looking at the long term, there's so much time. Trust me, we got so much time and so much patience. This will not be reversed right back to all-time highs, in my opinion. It's never happened before. So after a cycle bottom, keep that in mind. Okay, so yeah, basically that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Higher time frame. Essentially, I really want us to reclaim 20,000, 19,000. Okay, we really need to get above that level, out of this downward range to me to convince us we're going to start testing some of these highs up here and potentially put in a super bear market rally, whatever you want to call it. We've had these mini bear market rallies, but really just like nothing. We haven't had those bear market rallies like we had back in, these were huge rallies, and we just haven't really seen that. It's kind of been down only. So anyways, time will tell. Stay frosty. I hope you found something helpful in this video, and I really appreciate the engagement again, and likes and comments. Let me know what you think. I want to hear from you. So yeah, till next time, time will tell. We'll see what happens here, but it's not looking too bad for the short term. Again, you can always follow me on Twitter at CryptoVatsik, and thanks again for joining. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.